Hey everybody, it's Morpheus back again. Instead of being a dragon this time, I decided to be a ninja. Uh, just for the fun of it. So let's get back to it. I said I'll be doing weapons this time. You see I got my overly large katana with me, known as the washing pole. And I'm all dressed up in my ninja gear, ready to talk about weapons. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Let's get us a good view. Yeah, look at that. It's pretty. And let's talk about some weapons. Alright, so we'll start from the beginning. Dagger. Standard dagger has only modest attack and short reach, but can be jabbed in rapid succession. The powerful critical attack. This is a potent weapon in the hands of the capable. A bandit's knife. Bandit's knife. A knife with a slightly broad single edge. Its tip is shaped to leave a wound that won't easily close. Designed for unsavory work and beloved by those of unsavory ilk. Not good people, I imagine, huh? Broken thief sword. A broken straight sword, handled as a dagger due to its length. This inexpensive sword is terribly worn, but nevertheless a favorite amongst thieves. Mythos bent blade. Now this is a special weapon. It's known as a boss weapon because you have to use a boss's soul in order to make it. I made this weapon last playthrough, and I have it still, which is why I have the soul and the blade. But Mytha's bent blade, dagger forged from the soul of Mytha, the baneful queen, coated with a potent poison. Mytha was the fairest queen in the land, till something unhinged her. Was it the poison found deep within the earth, or the passion that consumed her heart? Short sword. A small, straight sword, longer than a dagger, but still lightweight. Widely used, as it requires no particular strength. A reasonable choice that will suffice in many situations, but not the thing to take along if you expect to face any serious challenge. Long sword. Standard straight sword. This straight sword is sufficient in most respects and effective in most situations, if wielded properly. Those who aspire to master the sword are certain to wield this at some point during their journey. And this one in particular is imbued with fire. Broken straight sword. Straight sword with this blade broken near in half. Nearly useless in battle, but nearly useless trumps empty-handed. Got a bunch of those by accident. Alright. Drake Keeper's sword. An extremely sturdy pitch black straight sword. Colossal warriors staunchly watch over the shrine, ready to defend its resident, or allow one worthy enough to be granted audience. Bastard sword. A standard great sword. Heavy great swords are designed to be wielded two-handed, normally swung in large arcs and effective against multiple foes. Be wary that such attacks leave the wielder wide open. Flameberg, a great sword with an undulating blade. The unique shape is designed to part the flesh and is highly effective at causing bleeding. Flameberg literally means flame blade, but it also seems to bear a certain creature's likeness. Claymore, a very large greatsword, very heavy and designed to use with both hands. Allows allows for broad attacks that are effective against multiple foes. Requires great strength and experience to handle effectively. Mastodon Greatsword. Greatsword of the Primal Knights that defend Drangleic Castle. The brutish and mighty Primal Knights wield this sword like a feather-light twig, but to the ordinary warrior, it is a chore to even hold up, owing to its great weight. Terrible experiments were said to have taken place in a hidden manor in Drangleic. The mastermind proceeding over the deeds was known as Lord Aldea. Drangleic Sword. Great Sword of Drummond. Royal Army Captain. An old and ornate sword, perhaps, but the pride and joy of this venerable captain. An heirloom passed from grandfather to father, and then from father to son. Drummond and those before him used his sword to repel those who would threaten their great land. Key to the embedded. Sword that opens the embedded's door. Shaped like a weapon, but is in fact a key. Plunge the key into the embedded to bring a rhapsodic end to his fate. The once human embedded, realizing that he could never resist the temptations of the flesh, bound himself eternally with his chains. Since then he has awaited the day that somebody will find this key and bury it within his bosom. Zweihander, a straight sword with a very long blade, one of few ultra great swords. As the name suggests, the Zweihander is held with two hands, but its weight is such that even wielding it in this manner requires strength worthy of the blade. Great sword, plus 10 in my case. A straight sword with a very long blade. One of few ultra great swords. No human was intended to wield a sword of this weight or destructiveness. Only a few famed warriors have ever wielded this great blade, for it challenges the very limits of human ability. And that is the sword that I usually use, the one I had in the last video too. Old Knight Great Sword. An undated ultra great sword, wielded by a warrior from a time so ancient that there exist no records of his endeavors. Has extremely low durability. Sometimes, just as the thing falls to pieces, it unleashes its last flash of great power. Smelter Sword. An ultra great sword formed from the soul of the Smelter Demon, another boss weapon. Its blade bears the strength of terrible flames and a latent power unleashed by a strong attack. The earth spotted fire and a beast arose from the flames. The short-sighted king was incinerated by the creature in one swing, and his castle devoured in a sea of flames. Effect special attack strong. Now, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I thought it might be interesting to show some people who are interested. Check this out. That's what they're talking about right there. And if I do it with one hand, so it's a pretty cool weapon. Alright, back to business. Remember the Pursuer we talked about? Pursuer's Ultra Great Sword. Ultra Great Sword of the Pursuer. Known as the mightiest of the straight swords. It demands great strength and dexterity of his wielder. The Pursuer hunts down those branded by the curse as if each undead soul that he claims will atone for one of his sins. Falchion, a standard curved sword. Each slash of a curved sword does less damage than a straight sword, but can deal a series of hits and flowing succession. The sharp blade is effective at causing bleeding, but is soon dulled. Beware when facing rock-solid foes. Shotel, a uniquely shaped curved sword. The name of its creator is unknown, but he was clearly a true craftsman. The curved blade is designed to reach around an opponent's shield to deal damage. Utilize the strong attack. Use the strong attack to utilize, rather. Murakomo, a curved greatsword said to have been brought to this land by a foreign warrior. Hold with both hands to make parrying possible. The exquisitely crafted blade makes deadly use of both its weight and smooth slicing action. A tough training regimen is required to master the sword. This is the alternate on this build, my ninja build. And here's the one I had to start, the washing pole. A katana of unknown origin, crafted with a peculiar yet refined technique. The extremely long blade allows for strikes from great distance, but its construction makes it extremely fragile. Ricard's rapier, an exquisitely decorated rapier, said to belong to a prince who appears in an ancient tale. There are numerous variations of the story of the prince who wandered the lands and eventually became undead. The majority of these tales end in tragedy, but there are some exceptions. The last game not being one, because you have to defeat him in the last game and you get his weapon too. Chaos Rapier, Rapier of darkness and chaos. Once a brilliant young sorcerer cast away his earthly desires, devoting himself entirely to the dark that bewitched him. Nebulous, inky and serene, the dark holds an allure matched only by the fear it strikes in men's hearts. Could it be nature, holding a mirror to mankind? Hand axe, a crude hand axe, more of a tool than a weapon. Its short range necessitates close range and therefore peerless combat. Does a respectable amount of damage, however, considering its relatively lightweight. Battle axe, an axe crafted for battle. Axes generally deal more damage than swords, but each swing leaves its wielder vulnerable. One is tempted to swing axes with wild abandon, but in fact their effective manipulation demands caution and precise timing. Dragon Slayer's Crescent Axe, the beloved black axe of the gallant shieldless Lorthrian, formerly of Ferosa. No warrior matched the ferocity of unbeatable Lothian, but he abruptly retired from the battlefield and was never heard from again. Some say that he grew tired of the frailty of human foes and set off to slay the legendary dragon. Crescent Axe, a bronze great axe with a crescent-shaped blade. Its long handle gives the weapon great reach. One senses that this axe was once imbued with a sacred power, but only traces of it remain. Perhaps those who blessed this axe are no longer with us. Giant Stone Axe, great axe, forged from the last giant soul. This great axe resembles a primitive stone tool, but is quite powerful, owing to its immense size. King Vendrick disappeared as of the war with the giants reached its ferocious peak, leaving his castle. Some swear that upon hearing the news, the queen's face remained as still as her portrait. Club, a wooden club, a primitive weapon to be certain, but quite powerful. so much so that it can break the guard of a shield. Mace, a club fitted with a head crafted for battle. The mace is an archetypal blunt weapon. It has a primitive appearance, but also many advantages, including the ability to break the guard of a shield. Keep the proper distance from your foe. This can be a very effective weapon. Morning Star, a club fitted with a spiked head. The spikes of this blunt weapon cause bleeding, normally wielded by clerics, but clearly intended to draw blood. Reinforced club, a wooden club headed with nails, designed as a deadlier club, and certainly offers a stronger attack, but this club also seems quick to fall apart, perhaps due to its shoddy craftsmanship. Mace of the Insolent, the mace of the formerly high-ranking clerics. This combined with a sacred chime and can cast miracles and hexes with strong attack. The clerics held venerated positions once, but now their souls wander aimlessly in the depths of a murky darkness. Use miracle and hex. Large club, a large wooden club, not an elegant weapon by any means, but a beastly thing with plenty of weight to easily break a shielded defense. Old Knight Hammer, an outdated great hammer, wielded by a warrior from a time so ancient, there exists no records of his endeavor. Has extremely low durability. Sometimes, just as a thing falls to pieces, it unleashes its last great flash of power. Archdrake Mace, a mace normally issued to clerics of the Archdrake sect of Lindelt. The land of Lindelt is governed by stringent laws, and those who dare defy them are punished without mercy. It is often the sinful who seek piety, spurred only by a selfish desire. Archdrake Mace, a mace normally issued to clerics of the ancient sect of Lindelt. The land of Lindelt is governed by stringent laws, and those who dare defy them are punished without mercy. It is often the sinful who seek piety, spurred only by a selfish desire for salvation. Gurm's Great Hammer, or Gurm Great Hammer rather, a great hammer used by the nomadic Gurm, a makeshift weapon crafted from a blacksmith's anvil, as heavy as it appears, crafted rather shoddily, but each hit landed is certain to inflict serious damage. Great Demon's Hammer, great hammer made of unknown materials. Perhaps it is stone or even wood. The origins of its name are unclear. Its tremendous weight suggests that it was never intended for humans. Perhaps it was an offering to the demons that appear in legend. We'll check that out. It's huge, huh? Alright, and I will end on the Demon's Great Hammer for this part of the video. I will do a part 2 showing the rest of the weapons and the magic casting tools. I may be dressed differently or I may be dressed the same. It depends on how I feel, honestly. But please like, subscribe, and comment suggestions and advice and anything. I am very big on responding to any feedback that you give me. And I'm very open to not only criticism but suggestions and advice. So, this is Morpheus signing out, and sleep well, everybody.